Hi. Today, I finally want to talk about the story that I have not been able to stop thinking about ever since I experienced it. I'm going to be discussing both the book and the movie, Call Me By Your Name. I will probably be spoiling the story as a whole, so if you've read the book but not seen the movie, or if you've seen the movie but not read the book, I definitely recommend doing both before watching this video so you can experience it for yourself, but it's the sort of thing where it's not going to be ruined for you if you hear me talk about it. It's one of those things that's probably very personal to everyone who sees it or reads it. To be perfectly honest, I'm shocked at how many people connect to this. Like, I know why I do. And the fact that so many people feel that way, I think, is really just a testament to the writing and to the film adaptation, which obviously more people are seeing the movie than reading the book. So I wish I had read this book sooner. I knew that I should read it, and I almost saw the movie without reading it first, and I thought it would be okay. But looking back, I'm so happy that I read the book and got to experience it here first before seeing the movie. I listened to the audiobook of Call Me By Your Name, and it was read by Armie Hammer, which I thought would be weirder than it was because Armie Hammer's narrating from the perspective of Elio, and then he plays Oliver in the film. So it was like, whoa, you're in both of their heads. But really it just made Oliver's lines all that more fun to listen to. There were times when just a line would catch me off guard and I'd be staring off into space and have to rewind 30 seconds. It happens to me all the time with audiobooks, but usually for different reasons. The line I kept feeding people as I was reading this book was, you have to read it. Like, this book is the reason why words exist. Words were created for this novel. But there were a few things that I really appreciated about the book experience, and I'll get to the film soon. The way Andre Aciman, the author of the book, deals with time, from the start it very much felt like this story existed nowhere in time. It was very much about the memory. And when you remember a summer, or you remember a life-changing event that sort of takes place over a longer period of time, your memory is not linear. It's not the traditional plot structure. It's you're thinking of the effect that it had on you as a whole, and you're like, okay, it started here, and there was this event, and that led to this, but this was actually 3 weeks later. I loved going through that journey of never totally being in one spot. And so when we would land on a scene and then be in that moment, it felt very present and all that more real. The way Elio would go into these thought spirals, analyzing everything Oliver does, analyzing everything he says, being self-conscious, being 17 years old, every ridiculous thing that he thought made perfect sense. And it was so exciting to read something so honest and so real, beyond honest, that I knew every time I picked up the book or picked up the audiobook, I would learn something and I would have a real experience with it. It felt so private and like something I could read over and over again and never get tired of, because reading it has almost nothing to do with the story. It reminded me of reading Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke, which is non-fiction. It reminded me of reading non-fiction. Just someone's thoughts and someone's rambles. The words didn't feel the need to go in any direction that they didn't belong in, but they were also unafraid to go in any direction that they started to go. When Elio would be imagining scenes in his head, imagining dialogue, you start to go to that place with him and have to come back. It felt like summer. It felt like obsession and falling in love and confusion. And then when we go over into the film, I was really thrown off for like the first hour. I was like, I know I just watched all of this happen. Like, I know what's going to happen. The scenes were very faithful. It threw me off a bit because there wasn't all of that thought and all of that space in time between everything that happened. But what there was the sound design that was so loud and so real and very present. The slow-moving feeling of the summer, getting to know the character, seeing what he does, watching him with his music and having a different understanding of that from the book. Elio's family, his father, everything was very there. And I so appreciated the way it was just that simple. The performances really took it away. The camera was sympathetic. Timothée Chalamet blows me away. His little spin after he got the note back, when he's sitting at the fire at the end and has to cry for several minutes. I was very thrown because I didn't think it would be over, because the book goes even farther, years and decades into the future. And now looking back, I think I'm very much okay with the decision not to go there, but I'm also very glad to have experienced that in the book. The movie is just something completely different. So if you've seen the movie but you haven't read the book, I still definitely recommend reading the book. I felt very late to the game with this, so I was trying to avoid like watching interviews, watching reviews. I was like, there's gotta be something I don't know about this. But what I didn't know was that there was not that much to know, but it was really just all of that to experience. And you just have to be there. You just have to see the movie, and you just have to read the book. I'm very interested in having a discussion of how people connect to it. I really loved how Elio was in touch with the idea of arrogance versus repressed shame, why Oliver was acting the way he was, the power he had over him, the power that he had over himself, the things that held him back. I connected to it on a very queer level, obviously. You know, it's obviously a very queer story, story, but I think other people find a lot of beauty in the story, and I want to hear why. I love it, but I want to hear about that. Everyone's talking about the peach scene. The sex and everything is so much more in the book, in case you weren't aware. I keep finding fucking peaches in the stories I'm reading though. What is going on? This book and this story are so pure and so real and just gorgeous and incredible. It was my favorite book I read in 2017. I want to read it again and again and again. I must see the movie again. I must. The father's monologue at the end, when I was listening to it happen in the book, I had to like stop in my tracks and go back and listen to it again and then read it on the page. It really got to me. It really hit me. I think just to see that someone else was observing what was going on, someone else understood that, and someone else felt the rarity of everything that was happening with them, that it all existed outside of Elio's head where we had been absorbed for so long. That just really took my breath away, and then performance and that moment with Elio and his father, their relationship was very touching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Call Me By Your Name. I'll be reading and responding to comments. Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't experienced Call Me By Your Name and you just heard all of that and you're not sold yet, be sold and go see it or read it. It's definitely like a book for people who don't like books too. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.